Ladies and gentlemen, imagine this. He has 1,000 options, every woman vying for his attention, yet there's one thing you do just once, and suddenly he chooses you. Not because you begged, not because you chased, but because you sparked something in him so irresistible, so magnetic, that all those other options disappear. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what that one action is, how it works, and why it changes everything. So if you've ever felt overlooked, undervalued, or like just another option, stay with me, because this will flip the game entirely in your favor. Ladies and gentlemen, let's start with a truth that most people don't want to admit. When it comes to attraction, it's not about chasing, it's about positioning yourself in a way that he can't resist. So many women think that if they just send the right text, say the right thing, or show up perfectly, a man will choose them. The reality is, men are wired to respond to presence, to confidence, and to a sense of intrigue. And here's the secret. There is one thing, one single action that can completely shift the way he sees you, even if he has 1,000 other options. It's not manipulation, it's not games, it's a reflection of your own value, your own standards, and your own energy. Here's the thing, men are instinctively drawn to women who are not desperate for approval. Think about it. If someone has 1,000 options, they're not looking for someone to beg for attention. They're looking for someone who brings a sense of mystery, someone who holds their own life with passion, someone who radiates the subtle confidence of "I know my worth." And this one action I'm going to share with you will instantly convey that. You do it once, and it tells him, you're different, you're scarce, you're valuable. And it will trigger that instinct in him to choose you. So what is it? It's the art of controlled absence. Now, don't misunderstand me. This isn't about playing games or being cold. It's about showing that your life is full, that your happiness does not hinge on his attention, and that you have standards that demand respect. When a man sees that, his brain starts to evaluate you differently. Suddenly, you're no longer just another option in the crowd. You become the option. The one that stands out, the one that sparks curiosity, the one that feels just a little untouchable. And here's the fascinating thing. Absence, done with intention, makes the heart grow fonder. He begins to think about you, to wonder about you, to want to invest in you, because he senses that you're not going to settle for anything less than what you deserve. Think about it from his perspective. If every woman who crossed his path was constantly available, constantly seeking validation, constantly chasing, he'd start to take it for granted. He would lose interest without even realizing it. But when a woman shows that she has boundaries, that she has a life he isn't fully controlling, that she's not just there whenever he wants, it flips a switch. That is the single action that can make him stop in his tracks, make him reassess his options, and make him choose you, even if others are throwing themselves at him. And here's where most women go wrong. They confuse accessibility with attraction. They think that the more available they are, the more he will want them. In reality, the opposite is true. Men value women who are selective. They are wired to pursue what feels scarce, what feels precious, what feels like it's earned. So when you take a step back, when you don't respond immediately to every message, when you create space for him to wonder about you, to initiate contact, you trigger that deep primal desire to invest in something he can't just have whenever he wants. You give him a challenge, not an impossible one, but a subtle, irresistible challenge. And the fascinating thing about men is that they rise to challenges. They want to win, they want to invest, and when you create the right conditions, they will commit. Now, I know what you're thinking, but won't he lose interest if I pull away? And the answer is only if he never saw your value to begin with. But if you've been showing confidence, authenticity, and warmth, and you suddenly introduce this small but powerful absence, it doesn't push him away, it pulls him closer. It creates tension, anticipation, and desire. It's like the pause in a song that makes you lean in and listen more closely. And the beauty of this is that it works even if he's distracted, even if he's entertaining other options, because it taps into something deeper than logic. It taps into his instinct to pursue, to invest, and ultimately to choose. Let me give you a real-life example. Imagine a man who has options, someone who could easily swipe left or right, someone whose attention is constantly divided. He meets you, and for the first time, he senses that there's more to you than meets the eye. You're not desperate, you're not overeager, and you're living a full life. He messages you, and instead of replying instantly, you wait. You engage, but not on demand. You let him wonder, let him feel the pull of your energy. And what happens? He starts to think about you differently. He starts to invest more, to prioritize you, to chase, because he recognizes that you're someone worth the effort. That single act of showing your value through selective engagement is enough to make him see you as the priority, even if he has 1,000 other options. And here's another layer that makes this even more powerful. This isn't just about absence, it's about presence with quality. You're not fading away to punish him or to test him. You're simply ensuring that when you are present, it's meaningful, magnetic, and memorable. Every interaction leaves an impression. Every conversation makes him think, she's different, she's rare, she's worth my attention. That's how attraction escalates from casual interest to deep commitment. And it all hinges on this one action, creating the balance between presence and intentional absence. It's subtle, but it's profound. You see, the most magnetic women don't need to compete. They don't need to fight for attention. They understand their own worth and they communicate it effortlessly. And this one act, this deliberate, thoughtful strategy, communicates volumes without a single word. It says, I'm confident. I have a life. I'm not desperate. I am someone who brings value. And if you want to be a part of it, you need to recognize that. It triggers a psychological response in men that makes them step up, make choices, and prioritize you over anyone else. And let's be real. Life is too short to chase someone who isn't ready to recognize your value. You don't need to be one of many. You need to be the one. You need to show that you're a woman who sets standards, who knows what she wants and who doesn't settle for less than she deserves. And when you do this one thing, this simple but transformative action, it positions you exactly where you want to be, at the top of his mind, in his thoughts, and in his heart. Even if he has countless distractions, countless options, you become the one that matters. So, understand this, attraction isn't about desperation. It's about strategy and presence. It's about knowing your worth and demonstrating it subtly. That's why this single action works. It's not a trick. It's not manipulation. It's an elegant demonstration of self-respect, confidence, and intentionality. And here's the secret that most women overlook. Once you master this, you stop competing with others. You stop worrying about who else he's talking to. You stop questioning your value. Because when a man sees that you're someone who cannot be easily swayed, someone who has her own life and standards, he will choose you. Every time. And what's incredible about this is how liberating it is. You don't need to overthink, overmessage, or overcompensate. You don't need to perform, prove, or plead. You simply step into your own power, your own value, and your own life. And that one action, the artful balance of presence and intentional absence, does the rest. It makes him notice, it makes him invest, and it makes him prioritize you above the rest. Even if he has 1,000 other options, you become the one he cannot ignore, the one he can't stop thinking about, the one he ultimately chooses. This isn't about being cold. This isn't about being manipulative. It's about understanding human nature, understanding attraction, and understanding the power of presence. It's about showing without saying that you are rare, valuable, and unapologetically yourself. And when you do that, when you apply this one principle in your interactions, everything changes. His perception of you changes. His investment in you changes. His desire for you changes. You move from being another option to being the one he wants, the one he chases, the one he chooses. Because here's the ultimate truth. Men are drawn to women who know their worth. They are drawn to women who hold their own lives with passion and independence. They are drawn to women who communicate value effortlessly, without begging, without chasing, and without desperation. And this one action, this simple but profound strategy, signals exactly that. It makes him see you differently. It makes him desire you more. It makes him choose you even if he has 1,000 other options, because you are no longer just available. You are remarkable, memorable, and magnetic. And once he sees that, there's no going back. Let's take this a step further, because what most women don't realize is that it's not just about making him choose you, it's about making him want to invest in you. And the difference between those two things is enormous. You can be the most beautiful, charming, and funny woman in the room, but if you're constantly available, constantly eager, constantly proving your worth, you will never trigger that deep instinctual pull that makes him fight for you. What he craves, what he's wired to respond to, is a sense of scarcity, a sense of challenge, a sense of a woman who is fully engaged in her own life and doesn't need him to validate her. That's where your power lies. That's what makes you the one he ultimately chooses over all others. Here's why this works so profoundly. Men are wired to pursue. When something feels too easy, it loses its value. When something feels fleeting or uncertain, it sparks desire. That's human nature. So by creating just the right amount of distance, not cold, not punishing, but deliberate, you awaken his pursuit instinct. You create anticipation. You make him wonder what it would be like to truly earn your attention. And as he chases, he starts to invest, not just time, but emotion, energy, and commitment. That investment is the glue that turns casual interest into deep attachment. And the beauty of it is that it works even if he's distracted by other options, because he can sense that you are rare, unique, and ultimately not replaceable. Now, I want to be very clear about one thing. This isn't about playing games. It's about authenticity and strategy combined. It's about showing your best self without becoming a person you're not. It's about demonstrating that you have boundaries, that you have self-respect, and that your happiness is not contingent on his attention. And when you do this, you're not just making him choose you, you're making him value you. You're sending the message that you're not someone to be taken for granted, that your time and energy are precious, and that you deserve to be cherished. And men respond to that energy every single time. So how do you apply this in a practical way? It starts with awareness of your own patterns. Most women, when they feel a connection or sense attraction, do exactly what we retold not to do. They overinvest, overtext, overcommunicate, and overgive. And while those actions may feel natural, they actually diminish attraction. Instead, shift your focus. Instead of trying to be the most available or the most eager, start being the most intentional. Each interaction should leave him wanting more, wondering about you, and feeling that subtle thrill of uncertainty. Here's a concrete way to do this. If he sends a message, don't feel compelled to respond instantly every single time. Respond thoughtfully, with quality, not quantity. Make your replies meaningful, engaging, and confident, and then step back. Give him space to notice your absence, to miss your energy, to feel the pull of your presence. You're creating what I like to call magnetic tension, that subtle push and pull that ignites desire. And the fascinating thing about men is that they cannot resist it. They are wired to pursue what feels valuable, what feels scarce, and what feels like it must be earned. Another powerful element of this strategy is living a life that is full, vibrant, and independent. Men are naturally drawn to women who have purpose, passion, and momentum. If your world revolves around him, you inadvertently make yourself replaceable. But when your life is rich with ambition, hobbies, friendships, and experiences, you radiate a sense of abundance. And men are naturally drawn to abundance. They want to be part of it, not control it. That is how you become the one he chooses. Not because you begged for attention, but because your life is magnetic, intriguing, and inspiring. And this doesn't mean ignoring him or being aloof. It means creating a delicate balance between presence and absence, availability and scarcity, warmth and mystery. It's about being intentional in every interaction. For example, when you spend time with him, make it engaging, playful, and meaningful. Make every moment memorable. Leave a lasting impression. Then, when you step away, he feels the contrast of your absence and begins to reflect on what makes you special. He begins to appreciate you in a way he wouldn't if you were constantly present. Let's talk about confidence for a moment, because it's the foundation of all of this. Men are drawn to women who carry themselves with quiet confidence. Women who don't need constant reassurance, who know their worth, and who communicate it effortlessly. This confidence is magnetic because it signals that you are not desperate, that you are not easily swayed, and that you will not settle for less than you deserve. And when a man sees that in you, it awakens a primal instinct to pursue, to protect, and to commit. That's the kind of energy that makes him choose you even over 1,000 other options. And here's an insight that most women overlook. Men are not just looking for a partner, they are looking for a challenge that they can invest in and win. But that challenge has to feel authentic. It can't be manufactured or forced. It has to be a natural reflection of your standards, your independence, and your self-respect. When you create that natural challenge, it triggers desire, interest, and emotional investment in ways that simple availability or charm never could. Now, here's the most powerful part. Once you master this, you stop worrying about competition. You stop obsessing over other women or comparing yourself to them. Because when a man senses that you are someone who cannot be easily won, who is fully engaged in her own life, and who radiates value and confidence, he instinctively prioritizes you. He invests his attention, his time, and his energy. And he does it not because you forced him, but because he wants to. It's also worth noting that this principle doesn't just apply to romantic attraction. It's a universal law of influence and value. People gravitate toward those who know their worth, who hold their energy with intention, and who don't settle for less than they deserve. And in the realm of romance, that energy is amplified. Men are wired to notice scarcity and value. They are wired to respond to confidence and mystery, and they are wired to commit to someone who demonstrates these qualities authentically. This one action, the artful balance of presence and absence, the demonstration of your value through intentional scarcity, is transformative. It's subtle, but it communicates volumes. It says, I am not desperate. I am not easily swayed. I am rare. I am valuable. And I am someone worth choosing. And when a man receives that message, it triggers a response that goes far beyond surface-level attraction. He begins to chase, to invest, and to prioritize you. He begins to see you as the one, not an option, not a backup plan, but the choice he wants to make. And let's address a common fear. What if he walks away? What if he loses interest? The truth is, men who are genuinely attracted to your energy, your confidence, and your standards will not walk away. They will step up. They will rise to the challenge. And if a man does leave, it's not because you did anything wrong. It's because he was not aligned with your value. And that's okay, because the right man, the one who truly recognizes your worth, will respond to this energy with commitment, attention, and desire. Here's another insight. Your power is in your consistency. You don't need to overthink every message, every meeting, or every interaction. You simply need to hold your energy, your standards, and your life with intention. You need to demonstrate that your presence is meaningful and your absence is felt. And when you do that consistently, the effect compounds. It builds anticipation, desire, and emotional investment. He begins to see you as someone rare, memorable, and ultimately irreplaceable. Let's also talk about the role of mystery. Mystery is magnetic because it keeps him curious. It keeps him engaged. It makes him want to know more, to explore more, to invest more. And the beautiful thing about intentional absence is that it naturally creates mystery. When you're not always immediately available, when you have your own life, passions, and priorities, you create intrigue. You create a sense of anticipation. And that anticipation is one of the most powerful drivers of attraction and choice. Now, imagine combining all of this: presence with quality, intentional absence, independence, confidence, and mystery. The effect it has on a man who may have 1,000 other options. He starts to see you differently. He begins to invest more. He begins to chase. And he begins to prioritize you over everyone else because he senses something rare and valuable that cannot be replicated. That is the transformative power of this strategy. And here's the ultimate lesson. You do not need to compete, you do not need to beg, and you do not need to settle. You simply need to understand your value, hold your energy intentionally, and allow the natural law of attraction to do its work. When you master this one action, this delicate dance of presence, absence, and self-worth, You become someone who is chosen not by chance, but by instinct, desire, and recognition of your true value. Even if he has 1,000 other options, he will choose you because you are not just available, you are magnetic, remarkable, and unforgettable. This principle is empowering because it shifts the focus from external validation to internal mastery. You are no longer at the mercy of his attention or choices. You are the one who sets the tone, the one who radiates value, the one who commands respect effortlessly. And the result is irresistible attraction. The result is him choosing you, not because you begged, not because you competed, but because you embodied something rare, something powerful, something magnetic that he cannot resist. Every woman has the capacity to create this effect. Every woman can step into her own energy, hold her standards, and live a life that commands attention without chasing it. And once you understand this, once you implement this strategy with confidence and authenticity, everything changes. Men notice, men invest, men commit, and the difference is night and day. You move from being an option among many to being the one he ultimately chooses. And here's the final insight to hold on to. The more you embrace your value, the more you radiate confidence, the more intentional you become with your presence and absence, the more magnetic you will become. Men are instinctively drawn to that energy. They cannot resist it. Even if he has 1,000 options, he will see you, he will desire you, and he will choose you, because you are someone who cannot be replicated, someone who cannot be taken for granted, and someone whose value shines effortlessly through every action, every word, and every interaction. Now, let's dig even deeper into this, because understanding the psychology behind why this works will give you the confidence to apply it naturally, without overthinking, without doubt, and without fear. What most women don't realize is that attraction isn't just about surface-level charm or looks. It's about the energy you radiate, the signals you send, and the patterns you set. Men are wired to respond to women who communicate value effortlessly. They pick up on subtle cues, how you carry yourself, how you engage, how you respond, and, crucially, how you allow yourself to be approached and pursued. This one action, the balance of presence and intentional absence, isn't just a tactic, it's a reflection of a deep truth. You have a life, you have worth, and you are not disposable. Here's the next layer. Men crave certainty in one area and uncertainty in another. That might sound contradictory, but let me explain. They want to know that when they invest in you, their effort is not wasted, but they also want to feel the thrill of earning your attention, of unlocking the layers of your personality, of feeling like they've discovered someone rare and valuable. When you master this dynamic, you hit both points perfectly. You give enough certainty to reassure him that you are someone worth pursuing, and you maintain just enough mystery to spark his desire and keep him engaged. That combination is incredibly powerful. Think about it like this. If every woman he meets is instantly available, instantly eager, and instantly predictable, he's going to lose interest before it even begins. There's no challenge, no spark, no emotional pull. But when you introduce scarcity with authenticity, when you demonstrate that your time, attention, and energy are precious, he experiences something different. Suddenly, he's thinking about you more than anyone else. Suddenly, he wants to invest because he sees the value of what he's pursuing. Suddenly, he chooses you because you're not just another option. He senses that what you offer is unique, meaningful, and worth prioritizing. And here's an insight that will change how you view interactions. Men don't just respond to what you say, they respond to the energy behind what you say. If your words are calm, confident, and intentional, they carry weight. If your actions communicate that you're living a full life, that you are emotionally stable, and that you value yourself, they create a magnetic pull that no words could ever replicate. That's why this one action works so profoundly. It's not about clever lines or tactics. It's about becoming a woman whose presence is felt, even when she's not physically there. Now let's talk about the role of patience in this process, because most women sabotage themselves by rushing the outcome. They want him to commit immediately, to focus solely on them, to validate their worth through action. But true attraction, deep connection, and meaningful investment take time. When you create the balance of presence and intentional absence, you are practicing patience, not as a test, but as a reflection of your self-respect. You are showing that you have standards, that you understand human nature, and that you are willing to allow him the space to rise to the occasion. That patience communicates power, that patience communicates value, and it compels him to choose you. Another critical point, this strategy works because it aligns with a man's natural psychology. Men are biologically wired to pursue, to chase, and to invest in something that feels scarce and valuable. When a woman is always available, that instinct never engages. But when she demonstrates that she cannot be taken for granted, that she is not just another option, his brain lights up with focus, desire, and determination. He begins to see you as the prize, and once that shift happens, everything changes. Even if he has 1,000 other options, his attention, energy, and focus will gravitate toward you. And it's not just about him noticing you, it's about him prioritizing you. That's the distinction. Many women can catch a man's attention, but few can command his prioritization. Prioritization happens when he senses your value, when he recognizes your confidence, and when he experiences the subtle pull of mystery and independence. When you combine these elements, presence, intentional absence, confidence, and independence, you create a dynamic that makes him choose you not out of obligation, not out of pressure, but out of desire, admiration, and recognition of your worth. Now let's address one more barrier that holds women back: fear of rejection or fear of losing him. Understand this: the right man, the one who sees your worth, who resonates with your energy, and who is capable of commitment, will respond positively to this strategy. He will not walk away because he senses your value. He will step up because he sees that pursuing you is worth his time and energy. And if a man does step away, it's not a failure, it's simply a redirection. The right man will always rise to the challenge. He will always invest. And your energy, confidence, and intentionality will ensure that you attract someone who is aligned with your standards and your worth. Let's also explore the emotional impact of this. When you implement this strategy, you are not just influencing his behavior, you are shaping his emotions. Men are wired to respond emotionally to challenge, scarcity, and value. By maintaining intentional absence while demonstrating your full life, your passion, and your confidence, you create emotional tension. That tension translates into desire, curiosity, and commitment. He begins to invest emotionally because he feels the thrill of earning your attention, the satisfaction of engaging with someone rare, and the anticipation of building something meaningful with you. That emotional investment is far more powerful than anything you could say or do to try to manipulate him. And here's another subtle but crucial point. When you master this dynamic, you no longer feel the need to chase or compete. You no longer feel the anxiety of wondering whether he's thinking of someone else or weighing his options. Why? Because you understand the principle of value. You know that the right man will choose you because of who you are, not because of how much effort you expend. You know that attraction is a reflection of your energy, not your desperation. And you know that by maintaining your standards, your confidence, and your life, you position yourself as someone who cannot be ignored, who cannot be replaced, and who cannot be undervalued. This is why the one action, the deliberate balance of presence and intentional absence, is so transformative. It shifts the dynamic from chasing to being pursued, from uncertainty to anticipation, from casual interest to committed prioritization. And the beauty of it is that it's subtle. It doesn't require manipulation, it doesn't require drama, and it doesn't require overthinking. It simply requires awareness, confidence, and consistency. When you embody this, you stop being just another option. You become the one he chooses, the one he invests in, and the one he cannot forget. Let's also consider the long-term effect of this approach. Once you establish this dynamic, it sets the tone for the entire relationship. You are not creating attachment through neediness. You are creating attachment through value, respect, and magnetic presence. You are teaching him, subtly but powerfully, that relationships with you require effort, investment, and appreciation. And men respond to that because it aligns with their natural instincts to protect, provide, and pursue something worthwhile. That's how deep, meaningful, and lasting attraction is built, not through constant availability, not through over-eagerness, but through intentionality and self-respect. And here's the empowering truth. This isn't a secret only a few women can use. Every woman has the capacity to embody this energy, to hold her standards, to live a full and vibrant life, and to apply the principles of presence and intentional absence. Every woman can radiate confidence, independence, and value in a way that naturally draws the right man to her. Every woman can become magnetic without changing who she is, without pretending, and without compromising her integrity. So when you apply this, you are not just influencing one man's choice. You are setting a standard for how you allow yourself to be treated. You are teaching him, without saying a word, that you are someone worth choosing, worth investing in, and worth prioritizing. And once that standard is established, it changes everything. Even if he has 1,000 options, he sees you, he feels your value, and he chooses you because he recognizes that what you offer is rare, precious, and irreplaceable. And let's be honest, there's a unique power in knowing that you hold this kind of influence, that you can create attraction, desire, and commitment through your own presence, your own energy, and your own confidence. It's liberating, it's empowering. And it shifts the entire dynamic of relationships from uncertainty and anxiety to control and clarity. You are no longer at the mercy of his attention. You are the one who sets the tone, who radiates value, and who commands respect effortlessly. Every interaction becomes an opportunity to reinforce your energy. Every moment of intentional absence becomes a signal of your self-respect. Every demonstration of confidence, passion, and independence becomes a subtle but powerful magnet that draws him closer. And when all of these elements combine, the result is irresistible. He invests, he pursues, and ultimately, he chooses you. Not because you chased him, not because you begged for his attention, but because you embodied the qualities that men are instinctively wired to value and desire. And the final insight here is this. Attraction is not about being perfect. It's about being magnetic. It's about understanding human psychology, understanding value, and understanding your own worth. When you master this one action, presence paired with intentional absence, you unlock a level of influence and attraction that is profound. You move from being one of many options to being the one who is chosen, cherished, and prioritized. Even if he has 1,000 other options, your energy, your confidence, and your authenticity ensure that he sees you as the one who matters above all. This is not a tactic, it's a lifestyle, a way of being, a reflection of self-respect and intentionality. And once you embrace it fully, you step into a space where you are magnetic, unforgettable, and undeniably the one he chooses. Every decision he makes, every thought he has about connection, every moment of pursuit, is guided by the recognition of your value. And that is the ultimate power of mastering this principle. It ensures that you are not just noticed, not just appreciated, but ultimately chosen.